When I was a kid, my mom told me with enough practice you can do anything. I grew up and realized that this was a total lie. I'm not gonna nail an authentic English accent. No matter how hard I try, I'm gonna sound like a foreigner. This always bothered me so much, man. Why do we even have accents? Why can't I just have an American accent or even a sexy British accent? Why it has to be this hard?
Hernan Diaz is the Associate Director of the Hispanic Institute at Columbia University.
I work at a university in New York with a large population of international students. Walking around campus the other day, I was perplexed to see flyers advertising accent reduction or even accent elimination. Looking at accent reduction classes online, the third hit I got was not aimed at Eastern European or South American immigrants. It actually read, "Want to get rid of your New York accent?"
I'm from near Newcastle and I used to sound a tiny bit like this. Why, man, that's mint. But now I don't unless I go home, I get really annoyed or have one too many.
Near snare on the frame rate.
I've got to go up Lee.
Here, and here. Sort of 2015, so it all sounds the same.
The way you talk could be as important as your personality or how you look.
You're right, Bab.
You're all right, Bab. Ugh, I won't bow your head.
You're right to what? What?
Changing your accent is a desire to fit in or to be liked, or as psychologists call it, conforming.
Toothbrush. But
Toothbrush, yeah. Toothbrush.
now that I'm here, I make a conscious effort to say toothbrush.
One of my friends is Welsh, and I go a bit Welsh when I speak to him.
I would drop my T's all the time, so my name would be Natalie. I would drink water.
What people think of your accent can also have an effect. Received pronunciation, or the Queen's English as it's also known, is an accent which is linked more to a social group than an area.
My accent, I think, would be described by some people as posh.
It can be associated with education, privilege, or arrogance.
Well, we roll our R's, don't we, where I'm
You
from?
do.
So rugby,
I don't.
Rolls Royce.
Not changing your accent shows you can resist pressure to conform and that you're loyal to where you're from.
When you say you're from Liverpool, even though sometimes they haven't noticed at first because I haven't got that strong an accent, they will then immediately go, "Oh, I do it like good Scouse accent," and do it back.
I don't really want to change and become a lot more softer spoken or be more English because I'm Scottish.
An accent can be a stigma, even within native speakers of the same language. These variations, determined by geography, class, and race, are always identified with stereotypes, and fleeing from one means embracing another. In England, a Russian writer may adopt an upper-crust British accent. In California, a Texan actor may aspire to a San Fernando Valley cadence. Even though everybody has an accent, there certainly is such a thing as accent discrimination. Most of us have either suffered or witnessed it at some point.
Yes, I'll just put you through. One moment.
Hi, I have a job interview with John Anderson at 12:30.
Sure, I'll just phone him up for you.
Thank you. Hi, pleased to meet you. My name is Andrew Leung, and my family was originally from southern China. Back at university, I studied accounting and mathematics. I have 9 years of experience working as an accountant, but for the past 2 years, no matter how hard I try, I cannot seem to get a job. At job interviews, the moment I start to speak, I can tell in the interviewer's eyes that very soon they lose interest in me. I have a feeling that they think either my English is not up to the required standard, or somehow they think I will not fit. I'm not sure what it is because they never tell me directly. But I have a feeling it is to do with my accent because I know my grammar is fine. I am certain that had I spoken in this manner to the interviewers, their perception of my ability as a candidate would have been quite different. Of course I'd be able to fit in it. Why wouldn't I? I'm not that different, am I? If you were an employer, would you view my suitability as a candidate differently had I spoken to you in this way when we had first met? Or, if I was a new member of your team as a colleague, would my accent get in the way of us working effectively together?
I can easily tell when I'm not being understood or when someone is underscoring a difference in pronunciation just to show me my place. Because accent discrimination is, in the end, all about place. Who belongs and who doesn't.
What causes a foreign accent? The human vocal tract isn't very big, but it can produce thousands of different sounds with its many moving parts. You can more or less open or close the lips, round them or pull them back. The tongue can move up or down, forward or back. You can make sound come through the mouth or the nose. Each different in position or combination produces a different sound. Each language only uses a small subset of all those possible sounds, but different languages use different subsets. A simple way to think of it is that when you speak, you pull out sounds from your language bag, the one your native language gave you. When you speak a foreign language, you might reach into your bag and find that it doesn't have the sound you need. Take the h sound, for example. English uses it, Russian doesn't. So what does a Russian speaker do when they reach into their bag to say hello? There is no h to pull out. There is something similar, though. H is a puff of air being pushed up through a relatively open throat. Constrict the air channel a little tiny bit with the back of the tongue, and you've got ch, a sound that Russian does have that's very nearly the same. Same puff of breath, just a slightly more constricted passage through. Close enough. Pull it out of the bag and you've got hello. English word, Russian accent. So can a Russian speaker simply add h to their bag? Sort of. It's not that a Russian speaker is physically incapable of making the h sound. They can. The problem is that the bag metaphor is too simple. Speaking is not like pulling units out of a bag one by one and laying them out in a line. The act of speaking is more like throwing darts at targets. When an English speaker aims for h, they hit the target. When a Russian speaker aims for it, there's another nearby target, the ch, that's easier to hit. And what's more, it has a native language force of habit magnet that will pull even a well-thrown dart towards it. Those magnets are powerful and hard to overcome. It's useful to think of speech sounds as targets. Your targets are set up by your native language. They aren't lined up with the targets in a foreign language, and if you're trying to speak that other language, your fire might be off. So is learning to pronounce another language a question of setting up your targets correctly then? Unfortunately, no, because to make things even harder, the targets move while we speak. The English L, for example, can be different depending on where it occurs in the word. At the beginning of a word like leaf, we use a light L, made with the tip of the tongue, l. But at the end of a syllable, like in feel, it's a dark L, ol. More of the body of the tongue is raised, and it sounds less clear, darker. This is a change so subtle you probably can't even hear or feel the difference. But you can hear it when someone fails to make the change. Italian only uses the light L and not the dark L. So I feel good becomes I feel good. They have the L target in their own language, and they can hit it, but in that English context, the target has moved.
An accent is the echo of one language or tone in another. I, for one, enjoy these ghostly presences of something strange in a familiar environment. They are a reminder of the fact that language doesn't belong to anyone, not even to its native speakers. Language is shared. It is, in principle, a space where everyone is welcome and cooperates toward mutual comprehension. And the very fact that there are accents in the first place, the fact that we can still understand each other through all the differences, is the most conclusive proof of the hospitality at the heart of every language.